American Dragon was an American animated series that premiered in 2005 on Disney Channel and ran for 2 complete seasons. It was about a boy and his family members who had the power to transform into ancient dragons and save the world from both the physical and spiritual attacks from other realms. Today, I want us to look at all of the characters, some who had the power to do good while others who used their abilities for wicked reasons, then see the men and women who voiced all the characters from the show, who they are and how old they've gotten after 20 years. We begin with the main character called Jake Long, who was a 13-year-old boy that lived with his parents and younger sister in New York. He was a descendant of a family of magical dragons, and he started getting his powers after his 13th birthday. He used his new powers to protect the helpless in the city, but later he started facing even more dangerous spiritual and magical threats that attacked him and the world. His grandfather was known as Laosure, and he was the one who helped him to master his new powers and become the first guardian of America. He kept his identity secret from his friends and was seen transforming in the shadows where no one could see him. Some of his powers and abilities included shape-shifting, advanced superhuman senses, superhuman strength. He could fly while in dragon form, and was also a very skilled sportsman in skateboarding. His voice came from one of the greatest voice actors known as Dante Bosco. We also discussed him in The Last Airbender, where he voiced Prince Zuko and also the voice of General Iroh in The Legend of Korra. He married his wife in 2023 and is now blessed with 1 child. Haley was the younger sister of Jake, and she was one of the most intelligent kids in the show. She was 7 years old, and just like her brother, she also possessed dragon powers and all the abilities that came with it. Female dragons got their powers earlier than the male dragons, and that explains why she got her powers at a younger age than Jake. She was a headache to Jake and a complete menace, and always told on Jake to their parents when he misbehaved or disobeyed them in any way. She took delight in making her brother look less than competent as a dragon, and basically behaved just as you'd expect a sibling to behave. She was voiced by Amy Bruckner, who is a former American actress and singer. She was active in movies from 2001 to 2017, and also appeared in iconic shows like Malcolm in the Middle and The West Wing. She now completely focuses on music and lives a private life away from media attention. Arthur Spadinsky was mostly known as Spud, and was the best friend of Jake and a girl called Trixie. He was extremely loyal to his 2 friends and would do anything to help them in times of trouble. He was kind of slow when it came to making decisions, but would make mastermind plans when an idea strikes him in the most unpredictable way. His greatest phobia was his fear of clowns, and what he desired most was mermaids, and he even wanted to be a merman so that he would get a chance to marry one of the mermaids. He was good in computers and technology, and was sometimes seen using his skills to decode and encrypt data at school and in his bedroom too. This dude was voiced by Charlie Finn, a television and voice actor who played the role of Royce in The Dukes of Hazzard and also Russell in Lady Dynamite of 2016. And now to Trixie Carter, who was the best friend of both Jake and Spud. She was among the characters who had no powers and did not know that Jake had powers in the first few episodes. And after knowing that Jake and his family were magical dragons, she was first shocked but later decided to help him in protecting the magical community. She was very sassy and vivacious in the way she walked and talked, and also behaved in a tomboyish manner. Even without any powers, Trixie was very brave and always tried her best to protect both Jake and Spud during their day-to-day adventures. She was voiced by Callie Troy, who is also referred to as Kitty Kaboom. She is an American voice actor and radio personality who has been active on screen since 1999. Fu Dog was a Chinese Shar-Pei and a magical animal guardian to both Jake and his grandfather Laosure. He helped in training Jake to become a fully developed dragon, and also provided necessary information during missions, kind of like Alfred in Batman. He had the ability to create various magical portions which were used to defeat various villains, and was a dog that could walk upright and use its front paws as hands. He had been alive for very many years, and he always kept up to date with current trends and events that happened throughout his existence. And even as a Chinese dog, he spoke very clearly in English and had been to all corners of the world. He was voiced by a legend named John DiMaggio, who is an American voice actor. He also voiced Brother Blood on Teen Titans, Schnitzel and Chowder, Dr. Draken on Kim Possible, and so many other Cartoon Network characters. Jonathan Long was the father of Jake and Haley. Unlike his family, he was the only normal human without powers, and he had not even the slightest clue about his family's magical background. He worked as a financial planner and was also known for his stereotypical embarrassing parental behavior both at Jake's school and at home. He was a good-hearted man and an honest worker, and he really enjoyed spending time with his wife and kids. He always thought that he was the protector of the house, and this was because he had no idea of his family's capabilities. A good man voiced by Jeff Bennett, who is an American voice actor that we've discussed quite a number of times in most of our episodes. He was the voice of Dexter's dad in Dexter's Laboratory and Brooklyn in Gargoyles. Luong Laosure was the grandfather of Jake and Haley, and also the biological father of Susan. He acted as Jake's trainer in his new dragon life, and was the official dragon master in the series. Just like Jake is the American dragon, Laosure was the Chinese dragon back when he was younger. He behaved exactly like an everyday master in martial arts movies, and was a very intelligent teacher to Jake. He was quick to anger when Jake took his lessons for granted, and would start complaining in Mandarin or Cantonese. As a teacher, Laosure mostly taught Jake what he learnt while he was a dragon, and also punished him the traditional way when he misbehaved during lessons. He was an old teacher voiced by Keone Young, who is an American actor and voice actor. He played the role of Mr. Wan in The Young and the Restless of 2007, and also voiced Lord Qin in Mulan of 2005. Jake's mother was known as Susan Long. She was 37 years old in the show, and was the loving wife of Jonathan. Despite being born to a bloodline of Chinese dragons, she did not inherit the powers because the magic skipped her generation, which happens once in a while. She owned a catering business which was known to service events like weddings and birthdays, and was rarely seen in the show due to her busy schedule. She was very caring and protective to her children, and did not seem to mind that she didn't have any powers at all. She was the decision-maker in the house, and nothing could happen without her stamp of approval either to her husband or kids. Voiced by Lauren Tom, who is an American voice actress that we mentioned in Kids Next Door and Futurama, where she voiced Amy Wong. She has been married since 1999 and is now blessed with 2 sons. Brad Morton was one of the premier football players at Millard Fillmore Middle School. He was a typical bully at school and a complete headache to nerds and geeks. He always thought that he was one of the hottest boys in school, but the girls did not see it that way. Jake was mostly the target of Brad's pranks and bullying, and he always made sure that Jake and his friends would find it very difficult to be at school in his presence. He was very poor in class, and just like most of the other bullies in movies, he had issues at home which made him to behave the way he did. He was voiced by Matt Nolan, who is a voice actor and singer. He also voiced Stinson's dad in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Hans Rottwood started as a teacher in Jake's school and was promoted to principal in the 2nd season. He was a villain who used to be a famous professor until his theories on magical creatures humiliated him in front of his peers, and his career got destroyed. That was how he landed in Millard Middle School as a mere teacher, but he never gave up his mission on finding the magical creatures. He did not like Jake for some reason, and was always seen failing him in exams and picking him to answer the hardest questions in class. He was 47 years old in the show, and was a man voiced by Paul Rugg. Paul is a screenwriter and a producer of animated shows and movies, and he also does voice acting in some of his productions. There was a girl called Rose who was one of the major characters. The streets knew her as the Huntsgirl, and she was actually the girlfriend of Jake throughout the show. She operated as a normal teenage student at school and a very dangerous vigilante after classes. As a normal girl, Rose was generally a sweet girl with a very caring persona, and she was also very shy when it came to talking and mingling with other students. And as a vigilante, she mostly fought Jake when he was in his dragon form without even knowing that it was him. She was voiced by the amazing Mae Whitman, who is an American actor and a legendary voice actor. She also voiced Little Susie in Johnny Bravo and also Shanti in the Jungle Book movie of 2003. And as of today, she is a mother of one son. Cupid was the bringer of love in the show, and he appeared in only one episode called The Love Cruise. He used his bow and arrows to spread love to the people, but his arrows had a reverse effect which caused hate if the person aimed was in love. One of these reverse arrows landed on Rose and it caused her to start disliking Jake, which brought a lot of confusion in the show. It was Nestor Carbonell who voiced the Love Angel. We mostly recognize him for playing the role of Richard Alpert in Lost, and also played as the sheriff in a series called Bates Motel. And another minor character was Leprechaun Brokamas, who was the head leprechaun of Pato Gold import and export firm. After he was abducted by hobgoblins, Jake rescued him and fought off the goblins, and Brokamas was seen giving Jake 1 gold coin as a token of thanks. He was a character voiced by D. Bradley Baker. He is a legend in the voiceover industry, and one of his favorite hobbies is photography and learning the German language. The Dark Dragon was an extremely powerful dragon who was once good, but too much power corrupted him. He was considered to be the #1 threat to the dragon community and also a huge red flag to the non-magical people. He was the first ever dragon to turn evil, and also had the power to create shadow monsters which he called the Shades, and they worked for him as his loyal minions. His one and only goal was to assemble an army of evil magical creatures and destroy the entire human race because he viewed humans as a lesser species. He also wanted to defeat all magical dragons in order for him to rule the world without facing any challenges and opposition. Voiced by Clancy Brown, who is a voice actor that is very famous for voicing Mr. Krabs, and is also an actor in various shows like Dexter and Gen V. Jasmine was a soul-sucking creature that appeared in the shape of a girl. Not much is remembered about Jasmine, but she was a very friendly and outgoing individual who accepted Jake's invitation to go to the school dance without any hesitation. Her soul-sucking powers only appeared at night during a full moon, but she always tried her best to live a normal life without capturing any attention from others. She was voiced by Lacey Chabert, who is an American actress. She appeared to voice Eliza Thornberry in The Wild Thornberrys from 1998 to 2004, and is also the voice of Zatanna in most DC animated movies. Miss Dolores Dorsce was a mermaid detective working undercover as the principal of the middle school that Jake attended. She was a good friend of Laosure and was always alert when it came to magical topics and dragons. Her role was to track the dark dragon's whereabouts, and after her mission was over, she went back to the sea and Professor Rottwood took over as the next principal. Voiced by the iconic Suzanne Blakesley. She is an American voice actress who is legendary for voicing Wanda and Mrs. Turner in Fairy Oddparents. She is also the current voice of the Evil Queen and Lady Tremaine on Disney. Miss Jenkins was the drama club teacher at Jake's junior high. She was only seen and heard once throughout the show when she was directing a play which Jake and Rose were in. She was a tall and beautiful African-American woman with long brown hair and a smart blue jacket. She was voiced by Macy Gray, who is an American R&B singer and a professional actress. She has already received 5 Grammy Awards for her talent, and has also sold more than 25 million records worldwide. Eli Excelsior was a magical wizard who was in his 40s or early 50s. He was the Wizard of Wall Street and desired to be the most powerful magical being in the entire world. He had a group of troll henchmen who worked for him, and he was the one who was responsible for abducting the leprechauns that we discussed earlier. He looked like a very dangerous person but was actually very cowardly when it came to combat. His fancy headquarters was located in Manhattan, where he held high-end meetings with very powerful people, and he clashed with Jake in some episodes when he tried to take over the world. His voice came from Jonathan Freeman, who is an American actor and puppeteer. He was the voice of Jafar in Aladdin animated film and also in the musicals that happened in 2001. Silver was a mermaid who was seen graduating in Atlantis University. She was a minor character who appeared in the show and was a mermaid who ironically could not swim and was afraid of water. She was a good friend of Jake, and they both worked together in one episode to capture a prisoner that had escaped the aquarium. Voiced by Carrie Walgren, who is an American voice actress that also voiced Little Susie in Phineas and Ferb, Diane in Rick and Morty, and also Melina in the Mortal Kombat series. Rose had a father who had no specific name, and he only appeared as a cameo alongside his wife. He was the only parent that knew Rose was a vigilante, and he mostly helped her emotionally as a dad. He was a tall man who was probably in his early 40s, and was just a man voiced by Nathan Lane. He is the voice of Timon from the Lion King franchise, and also an actor who appeared in The Modern Family as one of the Deutragonists. And some other additional characters who appeared in the series include Nigel Thrall, who was a young and charismatic wizard that attended Millard Middle School. He spoke with a British accent and was a competitor to Jake in skateboarding. He was one of the few students in the school who knew that Jake was a dragon. Another student was Danica Honeycutt. She was Jake's girlfriend before Rose, but they split up and she became good friends with Spud and probably his love interest. Counselor Andom was a former world dragon and the protector of Africa who now served as a member of the Dragon Council. He was one of the wisest dragons to ever exist, and it was rumored that he was also the only one who could challenge the Dark Dragon alone and survive. Olivia Mears was the archenemy of Haley in school. She behaved like a spoiled kid and was always roasting Haley in front of her friends. She loved getting attention even if it meant hurting someone in the process. She also took things like a race and did not want anyone, especially Haley, to become better than her at anything. Gregory was the cousin to Jake and was also a Drogon in training who lived with his mom in Florida. He was an arrogant teenager who was very self-centered, and he always believed that everything he did was correct. He did not listen to what his master told him during training and was just a weird nuisance in all of his appearances. Aunt Kathy was one of Jake's aunts on his mother's side. She was actually the mother of Gregory, and she owned a private island where she usually held family gatherings for Jake and his other family to spend time on vacation. She was extremely wealthy, and just like Susan, she never inherited the dragon powers. Yen Yen was a cat and an archenemy of Foo Dog since the 1400s. She was the pet of Olivia Mears and did not necessarily like her as her owner. She loved doing things her way and had unclear motives throughout the show. And another character was Tracy, who was an Egyptian-American girl that was the captain of the cheerleading squad in Millard Middle School. She was only seen in school and was a friend of Trixie and other girls in the institution. Sun Park was Jake's home economics teacher. She appeared as a normal woman but was later identified as the Korean dragon. Just like Laosure trained Jake, Sun Park trained Haley to master her dragon powers. She was so good in karate and was seen helping Jake fight off monsters in certain scenes. Stacy Wintergren was among the cheerleading squad and was a good friend to Tracy and Lacey. She was not very friendly and was known to be very stuck-up and snobbish to many people outside her small circle. There was a giant baby boy called Hobby who was only seen in one episode. He ran away from home to become a pro wrestler in the King Extreme Wrestling League. Euryale was one of the 3 Gorgon sisters alongside Fury and Medusa. Her main goal in life was to rule the world with her sisters by her side. She had the same powers as Medusa and could turn anyone into stone just by looking at her. And finally, we got Aunt Patchouli, who was another minor character and the aunt of Jake. She was Jonathan's sister and was unaware that the Long family had magic dragon powers. And this made her one of the few people who had no idea of what was happening behind closed doors.